Take the shoulder off. You on the bridge? You on the MS bridge? I mean, the show starts in 10 minutes. Yeah, if he was on the bridge, he can call to the bridge. We can do a mic check on MS.
I can really flop.
Dana, if it's this thin, let's just go real close up there. Scoring like this. Yeah, not also again. And I'll see it.
Talking about demonic. You always go demonic route.
What?
What? Oh.
Jacob, talk to me. Jacob.
Jacob. Jacob. Check, 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 check.
That's his son.
Back there, and I'll just say, hey, just come on over.
Yeah, you can do that, but we have a meeting.
We'll go here, like middle. Okay, deal.
It's easy when I don't have it back.
Dana, good job. Yeah, that was great. Oh, she's like, I can't see this. I'm like, okay.
Brand, you know I'm live.
Yeah, you're here. Here. Hey, buddy. That was cool. Thanks, man. Sorry for so basically, same thing that you sent me. Nothing's changed. So it'll be. Well, most of the Democratic voters I talked to say yes to the general election. So it goes. Okay, so 37. Yeah, hang on, Craig. Just stay there, and I'll tell you when they. Hey, Marnie. I'm unplugging my black extension cord. I'm gonna my black extension cord because I'm moving over to the other side.
Of course, I didn't have to unwire the other extension cord, but now at least we have extra.
My mom's gonna be so excited.
Did you watch?
I don't know.
Are you getting a lot of texts?
Yeah, I'm sure my phone. She doesn't. She says she doesn't.
But I bet you get a lot. Check your phone. I'm sure it's blowing up.
So what's gonna happen? Officially closed.
Hey, good job, man. Good job, Craigie. Craig, let's go back into that. Hey, Jacob, get up. Yeah. Yes. It didn't go to black or it did? Are we dead? Did it die? PL? Hey, Dana, let's do this hit right here at those little zeros.
guys, hop off. Let's go to that other side. Let me just talk. Hey, Tina, Sobo. Hi, up or down? Tina, you there?
Oh, because you're going to yell at him?
Yeah.
Okay.
the specifics on what the border security is going to do and how they're going to do it. Look, we are certainly glad that the Supreme Court made the decision to vacate the injunction that prevented border security to actually do their jobs, to do humanitarian work, to actually enforce laws, and it got in the way. And what was put forward, what Texas was doing.
Right now.
representation shows greatly improved the fairness. Millions dead, no one's been arrested. My brother ran into Fauci and our family talked about Washington. He's retired. He was at Georgetown. Guess what? He was never. He is government financed security. I don't. I mean, how? So not only, my point is, not only is not punished, he's continuing to live at public expense at the highest possible level. He's being lauded. When does someone get punished for what has got to be the greatest crime ever committed?
Staff to create a site of sheep. So, for individuals that would be willing, so we can raise awareness in that way. I think we need to find out who would be willing to house migrant families. So that would be my new business.
Particularly because a lot of Black Americans still to this day carry their previous slave.
Don't say Black Americans, say American African.
American African.
Yes, sir.
You do know that a lot of African Americans don't like that term.
Well, they use African American. We're comfortable with African American. Yeah. But I prefer American African. Okay. Because we are not Americans, never have never been treated as such.
Yeah.
And the adjective precedes the noun. So when you say African American, you're describing a type of an American. Okay. We're not Americans. When you say American African, you're describing a type of an African.
That dude been drinking too much social justice Kool-Aid juice. What are you even talking about? Not only just in presupposition, but in reality, we are Americans. Not just because you live here, dummy, but legally, we are Americans. Take yo to Africa, and they're going to look at you and say, he's an American. They're not going to say you some African-American, Black African, American African. They're going to say he's an American. When you run in the Olympics and the Olympic team shows up to Kenya, or the Olympic team shows up to Jamaica, and they're running track against one another, they don't say the African-American team. You run for the United States of America. You're American. And they don't look at you like you one of them. Because you
Razor wire work.
Does razor wire work for what? Does it work for the Border Patrol to allow them to have the access they need to be able to better process people that are trying to get across the border? I don't think so, and that's why we ask. We are throttled on Instagram. Here's what I do. Please do this way. Go over my watch chat timeline on your page on Instagram. Scroll down. And if you see clips of me in the studio doing the chat breakthrough show doing the podcast, I think that face up there in just it's in the studio. Usually has captions right there. Instagram's not letting people see those at all. So let's see if we can overcome that algorithm. If you just click the heart and just like it, I would appreciate that. So just scroll down to the Kardashian. Siaka's ambassador posted this to her Instagram. I find this interesting because not too long ago she was saying how disgusted and disturbed she was by the campaigns and content. Welcome to Tuck Talk, where I attempt to talk about tucking in a social media friendly way. I got a second. Magnesium glycinate from sleep. Yes, it can, and there is research to support. The recommended dosage is 200 to 400 milligrams of higher sleep. Magnesium glycinate is specifically preferred for sleep over the other forms of magnesium because it has high bioavailability and low risk of digestive issues. I actually take magnesium glycinate myself to fall asleep at night. Let me know in the comments if you do the same. Follow to improve your health. Thank you. Okay, 37 I would censure for standing up to a corrupt president. So we were right all along. The problem is not that you don't want to spend money on women. It's that you don't have enough money, which is what we have been saying all along. I disagree with that statement. It's not the fact that men don't have enough money to spend it on a woman. They're just coming to the realization that they don't want to, and that they don't have to spend money on a woman that they barely know, or that they are just getting to know. In my opinion, a woman has to earn her place in a man's life for him to be willing to spend the money that he has worked for. I mean, it's just so easy to spend money on a person that you barely know. Why aren't women spending money on men all the time? Why are women? We need to stop taking it. Yeah, boy. My God. The amount of green flags that is in this video is genuinely impressive. Firstly, he was doing the sidewalk. Right where you're supposed to walk on that outside part of the sidewalk that's facing the street while your partner walks on the inside part. Secondly, as they're walking and someone approaches them, immediately he's protective, he gets defensive. What do you want? As they're walking away, he was very defensive until they were asked the question about how they first met and then the excitement that he had because he had the opportunity to talk about his partner. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, as he's explaining it, he then asks her, he's like, hey, please, can you tell it? Because guys love hearing the story of how they first met from their partner's perspective, because they love hearing about the moment their partner liked them. It's a whole thing. They can hear it a million times over. So if you have a partner and you ask them, what do you like about me? And they say, you're just different. That's not good enough. What is the game plan going out against him? The game plan is to go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a... Bruh, we gotta talk about this guy right here. Bam!
Officers alert a convicted killer escaping Colombia, entering the U.S. as a getaway, making his way to the outskirts of New York City. His capture just the latest as ICE agents look for needles in haystacks. Greg Jenkins live in D.C. with the latest on the quest to track him down. Hi, Greg.
Good morning, and this is why the border officials put so much emphasis, Dana, on gotaways, meaning these illegal crossers.
How many sugar daddies have you had?
Probably like 30.
30 total. Okay.
Yeah. Also, 3 out of 5.
wake up. God damn. What you waking up to do, nigga? Now with the moon.
Greg, this is what I hear when he goes, check it out, check it out. I will never let
The Department of Homeland Security wants full access to Shelby Park, but the state of Texas is saying no way. They're actually doubling down, putting in this new concertina wire that is actually right on top and below of this anti-climb barrier. Look at this. So this is blocking people from climbing over these contact boxes. There's a deterrent there that they just put in place. And you can see right now across Shelby Park is very busy here as they do have state on control right now.
First of all, you're a grown man. And as a grown man, anytime your woman starts the sentence off with, if I give you permission, your life is already screwed up. Just go ahead and take your sack, your man parts, drop them off at the nearest feminist check. Because you don't need them no more. So what you need out of GPO and reps.
This is a night job at its best. You're gonna far from compromise. The meal of culture is now for children to study with weights. So like, there's a program. So just this time, I'm in the bridge. So it's going to be through the language and just cut this now. Especially holding on to it. Maybe the possum's done it with a couple of his teeth. The problem is, as strong as it can be on the end, if they're only holding on by 2 minutes an hour, it's like getting up and then the lift, the possum plus their body weight back up so they can get a better purchase and try and get a few coils around that possum and help swallow it whole. So close. No, my red store now at like 7:30 p.m. This night has been recorded over the pulse of Monday and released today. So that's 1.5 hours. Pretty crazy.
This is by far one of the worst ways of torture. After World War II, there were stories of Japanese soldiers using manual torture. Allied soldiers like to tie the victim in Bob Baker in bamboo shores, so it would slowly penetrate and puncture their bodies for several days. Here's your little fun fact. Some bamboo species can grow as close as 4 centimeters, 1.5 inches. What about just a 1%? Doesn't make the TV show Mythbusters. This is not on humans, of course. It's one. Dozens of migrants line up, sleeping on the floor to eat at the airport. WBC's Lisa Walters. So you see,
Name it 3 famous black people.
she said,
the nomination? Well, I hope you have your Xanax, and I hope you have your therapists on speed dial, because that is what's going to happen. And you can see, again, the updates here in the results. So now 12% reporting. We have Donald Trump at 53%, 46%, 38,000 votes have been cast. And this is what the map looks like as of right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed Nikki Haley's, is it her last stand? Well, I don't know. It's a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be quite honest with you, right? 17,000 to 20,000. Nikki Haley feeling the heat on Fox this morning, going after the hosts. Very peckish this morning for Nikki Hillary. Directly attacking Fox while on Fox. Okay. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
What is a strong showing? How would you label the show? What's the showing you need to go fight to South Carolina?
Well, I've been consistent. I wanted to be strong in Iowa. We started with 2%. We ended with 20%. I want to be stronger in New Hampshire. We'll know what that is when the numbers come through. I want to be stronger than that in South Carolina. It's just continuing to build.
But what do you mean by that? For example, do you want to be within, I know you want to win, but is within 5 points of the former president, is that a strong showing?
You know, at the end of the day, you guys are going to be talking about what a strong showing is or not. Now, I don't know that you'll tell the truth, but I think at the end of the day, if you look at the fact that, yes, we are down, I've got one more fella in the race. I didn't get here by luck. 13 people, and I'm down to one more person. That's by outsmarting and outworking.
Oh, don't worry about us not telling. I'm just saying that, like, the numbers are the numbers. It's no more.
Yeah,
so
but
what do you think is strong?
I don't think like that. What I wait and see what the numbers are and see what they look like. I don't like to predict like that. At the end of the day, it's about the energy, it's about the momentum, and it's about if it looks like we are putting up a good challenge to Donald Trump. I think we have done that up until now.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Hit a nerve. I don't know if you're going to tell the truth. I doubt you will, she says to Fox News, which has been a major booster of her campaign. Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Trump was just on ABC. He did a hit on ABC talking about his family, their strategy, their path forward. Big fans of Eric Trump. Love that guy. And we are going to be loading that up right now for you. It's not broadcast in a terrestrial way that we could actually pop it on screen live. And so we're getting that clip for you in just one moment. Nikki Haley was also doing an interview from the campaign trail today and also got quite prickly. Nikki Haley, I told you so, says Nikki. Yikes.
Martha, I'm running to win this race. And as much as everybody wants to talk about what I'm going to do, at some point, y'all are going to realize that I won this race, and you're going to have to accept when I say I told you so. It is slow and slow. He wins the race. I've done this the entire time. We're going to finish it. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. I'm running to be president. I'm not going to pull out because somebody wants to be coronated. I'm not going to pull out because they think that I shouldn't be there. The political class has never thought I should be here. In South Carolina, in Congress, at the UN, no one has ever thought I should be here. And that's exactly why I should be here, because I'm fighting for normal people, and I'll always do that.
Nobody thought I should be here, and that's why I should be here. Well, that would be something that would be kind of insane to say, given any other circumstances, like a bank robber inside of a bank vault. Hey, coppers, nobody thought I should be here, but that's why I'm here. The strange stylings of Nikki Haley. This is somebody who said she tweeted, Vivek Ramaswamy, my high heels are ammunition. What? I don't get it. Okay, creepy government register with the government to use the internet lady. That's fine. Let's check in on our primary. We have 45,000 votes in, and Donald Trump maintains a 10-point lead on Nikki Haley, 24,000 to 20,000. However, I mean, closer than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. We got 14% reporting in right now. I don't think there's any reason, of course, to fear, but you can see now that There is no early calls like in Iowa. The way that I expect this to go is that once Donald Trump wins, which is of course my prediction, that Donald Trump will win by like a 60-40 margin, right? And then Donald Trump's going to give a speech right after that, because then there's no other people running, right? There's no other concessions. There's no reason to like take phone calls from people like Vivek dropping out of the race, like endorsing him and things like that, right? That was what was happening last time. Last time, the delay in the Trump speech was because Vivek had to drive over, meet with Donald Trump, and they had kumbaya, right? They both ate a bunch of McDonald's together, and then Vivek dropped out and endorsed Trump. But that was actually happening, which was what led to the delay in the speech. There's not going to be that this time. Okay, here goes. And you can see there the map changing in real time. Red is Trump, yellow is Nikki Haley. And again, the 10 points are maintained by Donald Trump. 48,000 votes in, 15% now reporting, ladies and gentlemen. Time is 7:45 p.m. Now, we're supposed to have some very, very large drops for the polling places and the data around 8 o'clock. And so that's where we're going to be, watching this like a hawk at 8. A hawk would certainly not be the kind of bird that Nikki Haley would be, were she an actual manifested bird. But we do know that we have a manifestation of a brawler and a baller who just did an interview at Donald Trump's campaign headquarters, a man who is a dear friend of the show. His name is Byron Donalds. And Byron Donalds was out making his case for people to vote for Donald Trump. He's one of our favorites. We really like him. Could he be a vice presidential timber, as Donald Trump likes to say? Yeah. Yes. We've actually chatted with Byron Donalds about this. We think that Byron Donalds has other aspirations, but I guess we'll see what happens, right? But why would Byron Donalds be traveling all the way up to New Hampshire to stump for Trump? These are the questions. We'll jump into the vice presidential question in a moment. Here's Byron Donalds.
People like you that truly embody the America First agenda and President Trump.
First of all, the agenda is about our people. President Trump embodies that. He's been promoting that from day one. But it's about the American people so they can thrive, so they can succeed. So when you have somebody come along like Donald Trump and you say, who are you going to support? It's easy. Let's get behind them and let's get the job done. I think some people are in this game for titles and they want to be important. I don't care about that stuff. I came to this to fight for people, to make sure that our government does the right thing. You got to have them back in the White House because we need leadership in this country. We don't need capitulation. We don't need weak deals. We need leadership. He provided it. He showed this party how to fight on principle and how to fight, frankly, the media and put the truth out and actually get the job done. And we need to have that back in the White House.
Okay, you spent your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do have our Eric Trump. Eric Trump was just on ABC. Very interesting interview, my producer tells me. We're loading that up for you right now. Couldn't take it live, but this is live as of literally 1 minute ago. This is Elise Stefanik. This is, of course, Elise Stefanik. This is her logo and everything, saying that Donald Trump wins New Hampshire. Now, Elise Stefanik is obviously an ardent Trump supporter. Massive Trump victory in New Hampshire. Trump train isn't slowing down. But we can tell you right now that based on the actual reporting, nobody has called New Hampshire officially. We know that's dubious in these modern times. Fox News calls Arizona for Joe Biden. Well, but nobody's voted. Who cares? We call him for Joe Biden. We watch this kind of stuff with great assault, but it's important to note that this seems, these are just people sort of putting the cart before the horse. That's all. But Elise Stefanik has declared victory for Donald Trump. David Wasserman, one of the best pollsters in the world, has said that Donald Trump will win. Here are the actual results as they stand right now. 52,000 votes. 28 for Trump. 23 for Nikki Haley. Trump maintaining a 10-point lead with 16% reporting now. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We await, again, the massive data drop at around 8 o'clock. where we'll kind of like see effectively where we are. But as we have stated time and time again, this primary is over. It's done. Donald Trump will be the victor of the primary. Donald Trump will go on to win 50 states. It's never been done before. And we will see now a unified America First movement ascendant. And now comes about the most important work, no longer lighting piles of cash on fire, attacking ourselves, but now going after Joe Biden, which is so unbelievably important. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who understands that, somebody who has a very keen mind for such things, especially financial things, is the man who runs the entire Trump organization. His name is Eric Trump. He doesn't do a lot of TV. He doesn't do a lot of hits. Don Jr. is usually the guy out there throwing sharp elbows on the trail. But Eric Trump, ladies and gentlemen, did a very rare media appearance moments ago. And we have this loaded for you on ABC News. Let's go.
Joining us now is Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump. Eric, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Big night ahead in New Hampshire. Would it be safe to say you think your father is going to win? I mean, if he does, in your mind, is it on to the general election and the primary is over?
Yeah, we have tremendous momentum. Obviously, you saw what happened in Iowa, where the largest margin of victory ever in that state was 12 points. My father won by 31 points. And, now I've been at all the polling locations, around the state today. The energy is incredible. The energy is absolutely incredible in New Hampshire. I think we're going to have a great night tonight. And I do really think it is on to the general election. I mean, at the end of the day, Nikki Haley she never filled out the paperwork in Nevada or something happened. So she's not even part of the caucus in a couple weeks. And then you go to South Carolina, her home state. And my father's polling at 5-1 in her home state of South Carolina. And then we go to Super Tuesdays, very well. And my father's outperforming in every single one of those states. So I think her road to victory is non-existent, assuming a victory tonight. And I think at the end of the day, we have to turn our attention to Joe Biden, who's single-handedly the worst president in the history of this country.
Haley, as I imagine has said a few times now, the race is down to one fella and one lady, and that two 80-year-olds should not be running for office. On the trail this weekend, your dad appeared to confuse Haley for Nancy Pelosi. How do you explain this confusion when he said Haley was in charge of security at the Capitol on January 6th?
My father's an incredible man. He's incredible. He's bright. He's got more energy than any person I know. He runs circles, and I think you know this too because you have teams of people around him every single day. He runs circles around the media. He runs circles around people that are third his age. He's a remarkable human being. He's got the brains. He's got the toughness to do the job. He'll do the job better than any human being. And we need somebody to do that job. We need toughness right now. We need a fighter in the Oval Office. He's a remarkable man. He's at the top of his game. And again, as a son, I'm incredibly proud of him.
Understood. But I do want to go back to that moment because, as you know, Haley is really saying that this is an issue of his mental fitness. I have parents who are now 78 and they do have some questions sometimes or confusion sometimes. And I do think that it is a legitimate point of hers to say this is a really big issue if you're confusing me with Nancy Pelosi.
Lindsay, in all fairness, my father just beat her by 31 points in Iowa. He's going to beat her again tonight. She forgot to put her name on a ballot on a caucus in Nevada. I wouldn't exactly say that was using the breadth of her brain power to say the least. But we can stop with those games. I think this race is going to be over tonight. My father's a remarkable person. He's done great things for this country. He's the last person that needs to be doing this job. He does it because he cares about red, white, and blue. His life would be exponentially better if he was sitting at Mar-a-Lago with his grandkids, having a great time. He wants to save our nation. Our nation is a nation in decline. Everybody sees it. Trump has spread discredited questions about Nikki Haley's eligibility to be president. She is eligible. He's mocked her birth name. Why do you think he's doing that? Why take that approach? We know she was born in South Carolina. She's eligible to run for president. So why question that criteria? Lindsay, every one of these questions is just kind of like a race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom of the bucket. And, it's we don't need to do this before. We've got 3 hours left of voting. Let the people of this country, make a decision. At the end of the day, there's two people. So far, one of them has pulled way ahead. I think he's going to pull even farther ahead tonight. But honestly, in the eve of people voting, I just don't think there's a need to go down that. It's something that the media wants to do. They do it for ratings. They also make this
that's not really fair. That's not fair. Your dad has made this an issue. I mean, just as recently as yesterday, he was questioning wherever she's from, which is a quote. So I understand if you don't want to talk about it, but I do think it's fair. It's not like the media is just making this stuff up. Your dad has put that out there. But that aside, I would like to ask, do you have any sense at all if he would consider Nikki Haley as a VP or Ron DeSantis potentially?
Yeah, I think that's his call to make. I wouldn't personally hope so. I saw her when she was in the administration. Every time the wind would blow a little bit to the right or the left, she'd go, running for the hills. And so, it wouldn't be my first choice to put it mildly. And I'm not sure if it would be my father's. In fact, I think he came out pretty strongly the other night and said that, that wasn't exactly in the cards. But I can tell you he'll find somebody great.
And Eric, just last question for you, whether they're right or not, or whether the prosecution is fair or not, the persecution as it's been described. Your dad does have another number of court cases that he's facing. He will have to spend a lot of this election cycle in court. Do you think as a result of that his pick for VP has more meaning potentially than prior elections, so that person can really be out on the campaign trail for them?
Well, he's always been a great multitasker, and I think he's proving it right now. And I appreciate you saying whether it's fair or not. I mean, I can tell you as a son, it's not been fair. The second he got into office, they came at him with the sham Russia investigation. You know what happened there. Impeachment 1, impeachment 2. Obviously, he won both of those. They went after Supreme Court justices. Then when he came out of office, they weaponized every radical AG and DA's office in the country to go after him, with the hopes of keeping him off the ballot. And, when that didn't work, they started removing his name in Colorado. And when that didn't work, they removed his name in Maine. And, it's so desperate, and the entire country sees through it.
Well, Eric Trump, I know it's a big night, so I greatly appreciate you spending this time with us. I know you may not like all the questions, but I do have a lot of respect for you taking each question as it came, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Lindsay.
Such a classy dude, man. Such a classy dude. You may note that we've done a number of features on Trump properties, like the Trump Tower piece, and we're going to do a bunch of Trump cribs. And we work with Eric and his team on that, because Eric's in charge of those properties, and he's like such a class act. It is amazing to listen to the framing of the question. Every single question with the framing of Donald Trump shouldn't be president. Every single damn question. And you never see that with Joe Biden. You never see it. Joe Biden's out there crapping his pants on live TV. He's incapable of speaking the English language. He just said that you better not attack women because otherwise you'll see the benefit of it. Can we load up that clip again?
Yeah, that's crazy.
We took it out of the studio. We didn't think we needed it again. But Joe Biden just said, at an event for Roe v. Wade, better not attack women because otherwise you'll see the benefit. But you never hear questions about that. Joe Biden never gets questions about his mental capacity. No, it's all about Trump. Never got any questions about Corn Pop being a bad dude and Joe Biden getting a rusty razor blade to go kill Corn Pop because Joe Biden made a racist comment to him that he has too much pomade in his hair. It seems crazy. I mean, every time I retell the story, it seems crazy, but Joe Biden's on tape doing all of it. And then Joe Biden went out to go kill Corn Pop, young black guy from the wrong side of the tracks. This is what Joe Biden was doing. Joe Biden tells the story, okay? Don't come after me. It's Joe Biden's story. Nobody ever asked Joe Biden if that was racist or if that was wrong. Joe Biden's own vice president accuses him of being an old Jim Crow, racist KKK Democrat on the debate stage in 2020. That's how far that party has fallen. But our boy Eric Trump gets questions like this on ABC News, and good for him, standing there in the gauntlet. It's despicable, actually. It's despicable seeing all that, to be quite honest. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A check back in. 18% reporting now. The race has not been called. As you can see here, quite a few counties have yet to report. 31,000 votes, 54% to Donald Trump, 10 points ahead of Nikki Haley. Donald Trump has remained 10 points ahead of Nikki Haley with every single ballot dump. And so we expect that, I suppose, to continue through the night. There you see another ballot dump, and Donald Trump remains a plus 10, now 11-point lead on Nikki Haley. 58,000 votes in. Around 8 o'clock, we should see some really big jumps in the ballots. And then we should see a call for Donald Trump at a certain point. And then we will see a speech from Donald Trump. We have eyes on the Trump party in Concord. And of course, we will bring you Donald Trump's speech. We know that Vivek Ramaswamy is there. We know that Byron Donalds is there. And we know that some of our favorites actually are there and on the ground. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be doing our very best to ensure that a person who is depending entirely on Democrat voters to back her campaign, Democrat donors to donate to her campaign, and Democrat policies to run her campaign, along with having Democrats as inspiration, Nikki Haley, doesn't win. Donald Trump's newest member, in addition to the team, not even a week on the job, Carolyn Leavitt, is a person who ran for Congress in New Hampshire. She's from New Hampshire. She obviously is going to care a lot about the state. She is the newly minted Donald Trump campaign press secretary. She was just on Fox News saying that Nikki Haley is using Democrats to try and win New Hampshire. Not a great look.
State is Caroline Leavitt, National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. Caroline, I don't know if you heard Congressman Norman, who's a surrogate for Nikki Haley, but he rejects this idea that Nikki Haley is a globalist, which is a criticism from conservatives of Nikki Haley compared to Donald Trump. And you say?
Well, that is the truth. Nikki Haley is an open border globalist who is bought and paid for not just by the Republican establishment, but also by Democrat donors that are fueling her campaign. Her campaign is run by Democrat staffers here on the ground in New Hampshire, and they've made a very vocal and concerted effort to have Democrat voters infiltrate today's primary. And with all due respect to the congressman, Laura, he couldn't answer your question about what Nikki Haley's pathway to victory is. That's because she's never had a practical pathway to the nomination, never has, never will. We are 100% confident that President Trump will have a big victory here in New Hampshire tonight, just as he did in the great state of Iowa. Don't forget, Laura, this is the first state in the union that propelled President Trump to his historic epic defeat over Hillary Clinton in 2016. The voters here have a long and deep connection with President Trump, and our campaign is fueled not by Democrat operatives and donors, but by grassroots patriots across New Hampshire and across this country who believe in President Trump, love this country, love this state, and want to make America great again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news base bomb for you. Let's go. We just had to use it. We make all these little cutscenes, and we're so excited about it. Donald Trump has been officially declared the winner at exactly 30 seconds ago. Ladies and gentlemen, we checked, we checked, we refreshed, and we saw right here, Donald Trump has been declared the winner of the New Hampshire primary. Now, there is 19% reporting. Right now, 61,000 votes. Donald Trump has a 12-point lead on Nikki Haley, and Donald Trump has now been declared the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, we out ya. We are here. It is so good to see this result. It is so awesome to see it because, well, it means that this absolute charade of people, again, the abomination of lighting money on fire in a vanity project to run for president against the people's president, Donald Trump, can now potentially, finally be over. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the New Hampshire primaries, called by Decision Desk, is Donald J. Trump. Nikki Haley at 43%, Donald Trump at 55%. There we go. Was it really any wonder, ladies and gentlemen? Was it really any wonder that the guy who can draw these kind of crowds inside of a state with only 1 million people is the winner of New Hampshire. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, marches forward. MAGA marches forward. These are the results, and expect the salty, tear-filled meltdown to happen in short order. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that now would probably be the best time to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you to those of you who kept this movement alive, who never faltered. The America First movement is something that is going to live on and survive with us and our children. It is an ideology. It is the core of the marching orders as we enter into a very dicey period of time where we see major domestic and foreign enemies who think that America is totally weakened. And there's only one way to build ourselves back up. Now, horrendous damage has been done to this nation. Can it be undone? Well, it can, actually. With hardened resolve and true leadership, it can be undone. And now is the time. You saw with a Supreme Court decision, bewildering Supreme Court decision, that there is now complete unanimity that America must be invaded by the third world, and that the country that you grew up in must become poorer and less safe and less prosperous, and must become the welfare state of the world. And that is, of course, a horrific fate for our children, for our families, for the people we love, for Native Americans, which are you and me, the people who are born here, actually, and the people that wish to die here and wish to leave this place to our children and to our children's children. And it falls upon every generation to take the charge and to say, I will preserve this place for the future. Every country must have that moment. And we are having that moment right now. And that is what you are seeing. You are seeing it in these results here. And we are seeing it happening now, hopefully across the country, as we bring more people into this movement and as we crush Nikki Haley, the fake Republican, the Democrat running in order to try and harm Donald Trump, in order to destroy our movement, or to do it either from the outside or from the inside. As Nikki Haley now vies for a position inside of the Trump administration, presumably, which is going to be quite interesting. Will Nikki Haley get the vice presidency slot? Don't think so. Donald Trump's been straight up saying that as of recently. And now my producer is telling me that Donald Trump has been called by Decision Desk and now by the Associated Press, that CNN has also called Joe Biden as a write-in candidate. Joe Biden decided not to run in the primary in New Hampshire because of some fealty that he owes to the mob boss in South Carolina that got him elected, James Clyburn, the man who is literally as old as the mud that the dinosaur bones sit in. And now Joe Biden has allegedly won in a write-in in New Hampshire. Here's the reporting on
We
that.
do have a projection we can make right now. And CNN is projecting that President Biden will win as a write-in candidate in the Democratic primary in New Hampshire over multiple challengers who were on the actual ballot. Remember, this primary is not sanctioned by the Democratic Party here in Washington, D.C., and it does not count for delegates. Still, the DNC did not want Biden to lose, and he did pull off a write-in candidate victory in a primary that is not official.
So this is the results of that. I like how they've changed the colors to super girly pastels, but this is how the New Hampshire Democrat primary is being counted the write-in candidate would be Joe Biden. And so they have declared, CNN has declared Joe Biden the winner of this write-in. No telling exactly how that is possible. But it seems like a massive mess. Dean Phillips, the guy that we've been playing you, the Democrat that went to MAGA rallies and stuff, that guy got 6,000. There were 14,000 write-ins, 25,000 total votes. Up here, 65,000 write-ins. Donald Trump declared the winner with now 12% of the vote, with a 12-point margin above Nikki Haley. And Donald Trump winning whatever this massive county is way up here in the north that borders Canada, presumably because the northern border wall is the next thing that we need to build. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a call now by the Associated Press. Here we go. The Associated Press prediction: Donald Trump has won the New Hampshire primary. And there we are. AP race call. When the Associated Press calls these kind of things, then everyone gets in line like very, very quickly, actually. And so Decision Desk has done it. And now Interactive Polls, along with the AP, have all called it for Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, Fox News just called, my producer is telling me, and Donald Trump's plane has just landed. Donald Trump about to go give a victory speech. Apparently, Donald Trump will have a short ride from the airport to go give his victory speech, and we will continue to cover this race to Donald Trump's victory speech. No telling if Nikki Haley will drop out. I guess we'll see how bad it gets, right? This updates automatically, so I guess we'll see how bad this map actually gets for Nikki Haley, ladies and gentlemen. So CNN has declared Joe Biden the winner. Joe Biden ran as a potato that was one of those moldy potatoes that sat at in the bottom of the bag with all like the sprouts coming from it, and been, really sad and hard to watch. Donald Trump said recently that he thinks that Joe Biden will not make it through the primary process.
Do you think Biden will drop out?
Personally, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So here, ladies and gentlemen, would be the plan. Many people are positing that this is probably what's going to happen. That Joe Biden gets through the primary process so that there's no such thing as a Democrat primary. Joe Biden has a health issue, has to drop out, pass it off to Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama makes then a pivot directly into that role. How that would happen, we have no idea. These people don't follow any rules. They just really do what they want. The Supreme Court said that Joe Biden can't forgive student loan, and he just went ahead and started forgiving student loan. So yeah, I mean it's time, ladies and gentlemen. I mean it's the time that there are no rules. What are Democrats capable of? Well, I mean anything. That didn't stop them from trying to put their main political opponent back into prison. They're trying to lock up Donald Trump for over 400 years. Donald Trump would have the power to pardon himself were he to become president, would have the power to stop, of course, all of these investigations and all of these political persecutions. It would be really a fascinating constitutional question. We'll get to that in due time. Donald Trump making a declaration now, statement from President Trump's New Hampshire victory. Nikki Haley said she's running to stop the reelection of Harris Biden. Harris Biden. as though Kamala Harris is, in fact, running everything. Okay. Yet, without a viable path to victory, every day she stays in the race is yet another day she delivers for the Harris Biden campaign. It's time for unity. It's time to take the fight to the Democrats. And for Nikki Haley, it's time to drop out. Well, there you go. Make America Great Again, Inc., which is the super PAC for Donald Trump. So there we go, baby. There we go. There's the statement. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the official call from Fox News. Donald Trump winning the New Hampshire primary.
We have a call to make. Let's bring in Martha McCallum, anchor of The Story, and Brett Baer, anchor of Special Report.
Well, Jesse, the Fox News Decision Desk can now project that former President Donald Trump will win the New Hampshire Republican primary. This is an important win for Trump, given the role that undeclared.
So that is Two anti-Trump anchors on Fox News having to report that. Fox News, you remember, banned Donald Trump for like 100 days when they were upset with him. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. NBC News now live calling it for Donald Trump with Nikki Haley's party in the background. But you can see here, this
or did
is
they
live
think they
on
had
NBC
this the whole
News.
time?
Team Trump, no, Tom. I mean, the professionals in this campaign, the folks who run it, have done this kind of thing before. They were very confident in their numbers. They were very confident that ultimately core Republican voters were going to come home from their candidate. But the candidate himself, Donald Trump, as he always does, expresses himself on social media, made very clear that he was frustrated with the numbers he was clearly seeing earlier in this evening, talking about the number of Democrats, the number of independent or unaffiliated voters participating in this process. He won New Hampshire by 20 points in 2016. And I think less so the Trump campaign, but more so the Trump candidate expected to see a similar margin in this state. I don't know that that's going to end up being the case here. And so that frustration about the margin was palpable. That frustration at Chris Sununu, the New Hampshire governor, has been palpable throughout the week. But the Trump campaign, I think, never really sweated that this would be a win here. Just sort of how much of a rhetorical advantage would they get towards their argument that the primary needs to end now was sort of the one big question that they faced over the last 36 hours or so.
Garrett, thank you. If you're just joining our coverage, former President Trump, the projected winner by NBC News of the New Hampshire primary. As soon as we get some reporting on when former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley or former President Trump will take the stage to speak in New Hampshire, we're going to bring that information to you live. We also have a team of reporters at the Haley event. As soon as we have new reporting, we're going to bring that to you. I want to bring in our panel back here for more. Hogan, I'm going to start with you. Do the margins matter tonight?
No. I don't think they do. Donald Trump will now be 2-0. Nikki Haley is 0-2. He will win Nevada because she's not on the ballot there. It's a caucus. And then he's ahead big in South Carolina as well. And as I said before, I don't see a world in which Nikki Haley decides to keep going and lose her home state by 35, 40 points, which is what she's on track to do right now. Yes, had it been 1%, really, really close, maybe we could be having that conversation. But this is a decisive win for someone in Donald Trump, where a GOP candidate has never won Iowa and then gone on to win New Hampshire. Not to mention the fact, I believe it's the first time in history, I think Garrett said, where the amount of independents and Democrats voted in the GOP primary outweighed the number of Republicans. It's a huge deal for him to take both of these states.
To win both and win both over 50%. And as Hogan says, he's going to win Nevada. It's not contested. And Haley will try to stay in for a while, I think, which is not going to be a happy experience for her. The entire conservative media is going to attack her for staying in, saying this thing's over. Why are you helping Joe Biden? And if she stays through South Carolina, she's going to lose handily there as well.
Tara, I want to read from the Nikki Haley campaign memo that was put out before the voting was done in New Hampshire. It was a very effective memo, if you will. And they write, listen, we started with 2% 11 months ago, $0 in the bank. No one thought we had a shot. No one thought we could get it done. And here we are, $50 million raised, over 200 stops, and 12 fellas later, and Nikki's still standing. Will she still be standing after this loss?
I think the margins do matter. If it's a double-digit loss, then it will be difficult. Earlier, I said I thought it was a fait accompli anyway, that Donald Trump would be the nominee, and I didn't see a path for her regardless of the results tonight, even if she did win. But at this point, I'm not surprised by the result. We'll see at the end. We only have, 16% in. We'll see what the margins are at the end. But it's also a matter of whether donors still feel comfortable giving her money. We all know, we've been in campaigns long enough to know that you stay in the race as long as you have money.
That's right.
And so if the Koch network and other donors feel as though they can still support her and that memo is something they think it creates a path, then she'll stay in. But to Hogan's point, she is losing by 30 to 40 points in her home state. I don't know any campaign where losing that decisively in your home state shows there's a path for you to gain momentum to move forward after that. So I think they're going to have a lot of discussion. Now, the primary isn't until February 24th. So does she stay in and still hammer Trump and think that somehow that's going to weaken him moving forward? Maybe, but I don't see why. I don't see that really being realistic for her.
If you've been told, if any of us been told, I know if I'd been told a year ago even 3 months ago, Nikki Haley finished at whatever it's going to be, 45% in New Hampshire, I would have been shocked. I mean, she's overperformed in this campaign, but she's just, the way she's campaigned, the way she's been branded, the way she's been attacked, she's just too far over on the non-Trump side of the party, which where you can get that in a state where independents are a huge swing vote and they're coming all in because they don't have a Democratic contest, but that's just not going to be replicated elsewhere, and she's not going to be, DeSantis couldn't get enough of the Trump vote and widen into the non-Trump vote because she had it. She has a grip on the non-Trump vote, but won't be able to get further into the party to get to a winning plurality or majority places.
We know former President Trump likes to speak late on these nights, but when he does speak, Hogan, what do you think we're going to hear from him?
I think you're going to hear a very similar message to the one you heard after Iowa. He's going to thank Nikki most likely. He will also talk about the need to unify and focus on Joe Biden as he is the enemy, he believes, of this party and of this country. And I would imagine that's
Hogan, I got to interrupt you because we do have some breaking news. It looks like Nikki Haley's about to take the stage after losing New Hampshire. Here's the former UN ambassador now.
Here we go. Here we go.
Thank you.
Is she going to drop out?
Oh, I love her.
Ooh.
What a great night. God is so good all the time. Thank you, New Hampshire, for the love, the kindness, the support, and a great night here tonight. Thank you so much. I want to first say thank you to my husband, who I know is watching right now. I love you. We're excited to have you. I want to thank my kids who are here, Rita and Nayland and Josh, who have really kind of stepped up and just given me the support I need. You really pull on your family when something like this happens, and I am incredibly blessed by their support. I have my parents at home, and I will always say that the way they raised me, to know that we lived in the best country in the world, but to also know that the best way you appreciate your blessings is to give back. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you so much. To my siblings, to my in-laws, to everybody back at home, to Vicki for helping me take care of Mom and Dad. Thank you for that. I will tell you, it feels like it's been a lifetime, but it has been almost a year that we've been campaigning in New Hampshire, touching every hand, answering every question, being the last person to leave. And we had the most amazing thing happen is the second that we got the endorsement from Governor Chris Sununu. I mean, a true governor that doesn't stand behind a podium. He shows up at a diner. He shows up at the brewery. He loves the people of New Hampshire. He has been with me every single day at every single event. Chris, I couldn't have done it without you. And I want to thank someone who was with me on day one. He's a patriot. He's a hardcore conservative. And he is my friend, General Don Bolduc. And Sharon, thank you so much. I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory tonight. He earned it. And I want to acknowledge that. Now, you've all heard the chatter among the political class. They're falling all over themselves, saying this race is over. Well, I have news for all of them. New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go. And the next one is my sweet state of South Carolina.
The next one's Nevada. What?
At one point in this campaign, there were 14 of us running, and we were at 2% in the polls. Well, I'm a fighter. And I'm scrappy. And now we're the last one standing next to Donald Trump. And today we got close to half of the vote. We still have a ways to go, but we keep moving up. For a lot of people, politics is way too personal. It's not personal for me. I voted for Trump twice. I was proud to serve America in his cabinet. I agree with many of his policies. I decided to run because I'm worried about the future of our country and because it's time to put the negativity and chaos behind us. We have an economy that's crushing middle-class Americans. We have a border that is totally open and dangerous, creating a disaster in our country. Unbelievable. We have schools that are failing too many of our children, and we have a world on fire with a war in Europe and the Middle East and a huge and growing threat from China. And then you look at Washington, D.C. We have a Congress that fights about everything and accomplishes nothing. And we have Joe Biden in the White House making one bad decision after another, when he's making any decisions at all. Our country's in a real mess. And the question is, who's going to fix it? With Donald Trump, Republicans have lost almost every competitive election. We lost the Senate. We lost the House. We lost the White House. We lost in 2018. We lost in 2020. And we lost in 2022. The worst kept secret in politics is how badly the Democrats want to run against Donald Trump. They know Trump is the only Republican in the country who Joe Biden can defeat. You can't fix the mess if you don't win an election. A Trump nomination is a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency.
Boo.
I defeat Biden handily. With Donald Trump, you have one bout of chaos after another. This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment. You can't fix Joe Biden's chaos with Republican chaos. The other day, Donald Trump accused me of not providing security at the Capitol on January 6th. Now, I've long called for mental competency tests for politicians over the age of 75. Trump claims he'd do better than me in one of those tests. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But if he thinks that, then he should have no problem standing on a debate stage with me.
She's doubling down. She's doubling down.
Most Americans do not want a rematch between Biden and Trump. The first party to retire its 80-year-old candidate is going to be the party that wins this election. And I think it should be the Republicans that win this election.
But you're a Democrat.
Our fight is not over because we have a country to save. In the next 2 months, millions of voters in over 20 states will have their say. We should honor them and allow them to vote. And guess what? In the next 2 months, Joe Biden isn't going to get any younger or any better. We'll have all the time we need to defeat Joe Biden. When we get to South Carolina, Donald Trump's going to have a harder time falsely attacking me. The great people of South Carolina know I cut their taxes. They know I signed the toughest illegal immigration bill in the country. They know we passed voter ID and tort reform and ethics reform. And they know we moved 35,000 people from welfare to work.
We've just been listening to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley deliver her concession speech there in New Hampshire, but making it very clear she is not going anywhere.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so now we actually await the winner's speech. Nikki Haley, pretty highfalutin for somebody who just lost by double digits in the race. Here we go. This is the most recent tally, almost 100,000 votes. Now we are at only 31%. 100,000 votes. Donald Trump still maintaining a 10-point lead on Nikki Haley. And just a real quick fact check here. Donald Trump does better against Joe Biden than Nikki Haley. This is the Real Clear Politics polling. The spread for Nikki Haley versus Joe Biden is just 1 point, a single point, if you tabulate all the polls together. The poll for the spread for Donald Trump is nearly 3 points. So this whole idea that I can beat Donald Trump and I will beat him, this is like the kind of fantasy delusion that Mitt Romney had. This is why they want Nikki Haley so badly. Because they'll get another Mitt Romney. They'll get another mishmash. Whipped cream candidate. They'll get a Democrat light, and they'll be able to beat Democrat light with a Democrat. Nikki Haley, like, it's kind of weird that she has to consistently tell people she's a Republican. It seems a little strange that. It's almost like you're a little guilty about the fact that the vast majority of people have an unfavorable opinion of you. Do Americans have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Nikki Haley? She has an unfavorables of plus 5 points. So this idea that she's some type of like paragon of favorability and that everyone loves her is a lie. And it's worth dispelling that lie, as Donald Trump declared the winner of the New Hampshire GOP primary. That being said, a lot of people who are not members of the GOP voting in this primary, ladies and gentlemen, and Donald Trump made history tonight. Donald Trump made history as being the first person to ever win the New Hampshire primaries 3 times in a row.
I mean, clearly it is a solid win. It would also be no one has won the Republican nomination, won Iowa, won New Hampshire, and not gone on to secure the nomination. So history is on the former president's side when he looks ahead at these other states. But we have heard, as everyone has said time and time again from Governor Haley, that she doesn't believe that 2 states should decide who the nominee is going to be, and that she intends to stay in this, that she intends to work hard over the next month into South Carolina. But whether or not they rethink this, given the end of the night numbers here? We'll see.
She is outperforming the polls going into this day. She is doing better across the board. How that turns out at the end of the night is the big question. The other history made tonight, Jesse, is that Donald Trump is now the only person ever to win the New Hampshire primary 3 times. So there you go.
I'm sure we'll hear him note that in the speech tonight. Always likes to break records and make history.
You know, Jesse, just one other thing that I would mention. Nikki Haley, she's been saying all along is I was at 2% in the beginning, got to 20% in Iowa. Now you look at this number at 45. If it stays in that area, she's going to say, then I doubled what I did in Iowa. So she's going to, I would imagine, characterize this as a continued climb. And we'll see, what she has to say at the end of the night and where this goes.
And if the donors buy all of that.
Exactly.
Okay, well, as we saw over at Hemmer's board, we still have a pretty long way to go when it comes.
So, Nikki Haley saying she's not dropping out. Nikki Haley saying she's going to take this all the way through. Who knows? South Carolina. She says there's millions and millions of more voters. The next battle is South Carolina. She says, why? That's not true. No, actually, the next one is Nevada. That's insane. You forgot to get your name on the ballot there. But anyway, so Nikki Haley is going to march forward and is now taunting Donald Trump, saying that he'll lose to Joe Biden and saying that Donald Trump's scared to debate her. Ooh, baby, we're going to be very interested in monitoring Donald Trump's speech. Donald Trump will be speaking here momentarily at any moment. And of course, we'll cut live to that when and as it happens. I have been sent a Donald Trump meme with Nikki Haley that I am duty bound to play for you now.
Say Car Nimrod.
Yeah.
Say Car Nimrod.
Vermont plates, Alpha, God, Mustard, 1, Niner, Decade, China. Check it.
You didn't say it.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll have occasional meme breaks here. Joining the program now, the great executive producer for our show, ALX, along with our deputy producers, Danny Dayurbina and Robbie Meyer. Robbie, how are you? ALX, how are you? Danny, what's up?
What's going on?
Danny, that's a very, very good background you got there. Very well done.
Gotta keep it based over here. Gotta keep it based.
And the sweater for the occasion.
Bravo.
I'm wearing Nikki Haley's signature sweater. We're taking it back. Nikki Haley has formed an unholy alliance with the sweater, and we will not let new tax Nikki win tonight because she didn't. She clearly lost. So we're taking it back.
So you have the Nikki Haley sweater on. That is actually the exact same sweater that Nikki Haley's been wearing to all of these events. Nikki Haley not dropping out. This is the big news. And ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing here, of course, is our entire producer team that does the show and clips the news and is monitoring the news right now. At any moment, Donald Trump could walk on stage, and so we will cover that when he does. But Nikki Haley on stage moments ago saying, "I will not drop out. Donald Trump's afraid to debate me." Do you think that's true, ALX?
I think it's a little delusional at this point. She's like the only one left. And just what you noted too with the polls, she says that she's best suited to go against Joe Biden, and she's citing some poll from half a year ago. And you look at the Real Clear Politics average, and Trump's up over a percentage point against Joe Biden compared to Haley. And he's held that lead consistently. And that's, he had an outside of the margin of error lead in the Real Clear Politics average for the past 6 or 7 months at this point. And Haley is still clinging on to this one poll that was taken, in March of last year or something. And at this point, Trump really doesn't owe it to her to be on the same stage because, look at the numbers in every other state. This is basically, I'd compare Iowa to DeSantis. This is her Iowa. She poured all of the resources into getting those switchover votes, Democrats, independents, whatever. And you're seeing a lot of the people, the exit polls and the interviews of people essentially saying that it's a vote against Trump, whether it's, liberal Republicans or Democrats who say that they're going to vote for Biden in the general election. So, this kind of open primary type thing, and that's kind of boosting her numbers. I don't think that gives her the credibility to say Trump is afraid to face her on the stage, because that's, I think, what we're seeing here.
Robbie, your thoughts on how it shook down tonight? Possibly a little closer than some would want to admit. It's 105,000 votes in, 32% reporting. So these numbers might tighten, or Donald Trump may run away with it. I don't know New Hampshire well enough to know exactly where these regions are going to land, but Donald Trump has been declared the winner. We await Donald Trump's victory speech, but is this a little tighter than MAGA would want to? Is it a little tighter than MAGA would want to see tonight?
No, I think this is the same thing we saw last week, Benny, when we were in Iowa. Went to the caucus, and there were about 3 Nikki Haley voters in there, and they all look like Dem plants. And I think this is the same thing all over again in New Hampshire. These are Dems who are boosting Nikki's numbers. As soon as we get back to a red state like Nevada, which is next, and then South Carolina, I think you're going to see these numbers just skyrocket above 60, maybe 65% for President Trump. Benny, one thing we got to note, she started off saying thank you to everyone. She still doesn't say her husband's name.
Dude, she changed her husband's name.
She changed it, but she can't even say it on stage. Bill, Michael, she doesn't know. Yeah. She can't remember.
This is a fact. Let's grab that article. But this is a fact. I'll put it up on screen. She changed her husband's name. What, you have to be a sociopath to do that. You have to be crazy. You have to have a bird brain. The article goes like this. His name, his given name, his Christian given birth certificate name is Bill, and she just said declared one day, "You're a Michael." What kind of person does that? Danny, would you allow that to happen to you? I don't know if you have a girlfriend, Danny, but would you allow her to change her name?
I would not, and we should start a hashtag say his name.
Yeah, Nikki Haley straight up changed her husband's name. Maybe this is why Nikki Haley's favorability is totally underwater. There is this kind of wild idea that she's this broad stroke electable person and that everyone's going to run and love her. And we've missed on that as a Republican Party for a long time, right? Like Mitt Romney was supposed to be that person. John McCain was supposed to be this guy with this broad appeal to moderates and suburban women and things. We heard that lie. Suburban women love Mitt Romney. We've heard that before. And both those guys went down in flames. Hey, Alex, do you think it'll work again?
No, not at all. Home state, and usually you'd perform better in your home state than some random state that she's recruiting Democrats from. But it's really surprising that she doesn't have, a better performance in South Carolina or expected performance there. So I think maybe it's a little more surprising that she's done kind of this well in New Hampshire, but again, if this is the only thing she has to hang her hat on in the campaign, it's not very many delegates. It's a small state. And if she can't put up a fight in her former home state, I think it's delusional at this point. So
I'm getting weird vibes from these numbers, assuming that so many people crossed party lines in order to vote for Nikki Haley, in order to scuttle Donald Trump. We know that the left has had their brains broken, and that the people who are voting for Nikki Haley are Democrat plants. We know this for a fact. And as Robbie just brought up, when we get to hard red states that don't have these kind of insane rules where anyone can vote, which is insane, because that's how you rig primaries, then I think you're going to get a different story. Danny, I want you to respond to this clip. There is a clip of a couple of Haley voters showing up in order to cast their vote for their favorite Republican candidate.
Christian, who did you vote for and why?
Yeah, so thank you. I voted for Nikki Haley, and it was certainly a strategic vote. I think the DNC is fairly resolute in their nomination for Joe Biden. And while I wouldn't vote for her in a general election, particularly on our differences with climate change solution, a woman's right to bodily autonomy, or incarceration rates, I think a vote for Nikki Haley helps diminish Trump's influence in the RNC and their nomination, but is also a vote towards democracy.
And Christian is emblematic of so many conversations that I've had here throughout the day. Rachel?
You know, Benny, I've seen that kid before. He has to be one of those like sweaty kids that sits into my like poli-sci classes because they're all the same. And like New Hampshire was Nikki Haley's saving grace. I mean, this was where the Democrats were going to come out in droves and vote for her. And she's not getting the results she expected. And actually, if you look at that map that we had up a second ago, you look at those population hubs, you look at Nashville, you look at Manchester, those are supposed to be where those are the population hubs. And so that's where you expected Nikki Haley to maybe have a more commanding lead. Those are blood red at the bottom. So Trump was able to close those margins. And this whole thing is a margins game. And so I'm sure the pollsters are looking at this map right now, and they're saying they're probably looking at exit poll data, and they're saying Haley's not going to be able to close those margins in the other counties. And so they're calling it for Trump pretty early on. Nikki Haley's talking about dozens more states to go. I mean, lady, come on. There's one thing I agreed with her in her speech, and it's that we have a country to save. And so if she wants to be a leader, part of being a leader is stepping up and being humble when you need to be, and understanding when you don't have the mandate to lead. And right now, she clearly does not have the mandate. And if we want to save this country, we need to all coalesce around a single candidate who can actually beat Joe Biden in the general. And she's just showing time and time again she wants to be a cog in that wheel. And it kind of looks like Boeing's second asset went down mid-flight tonight in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's a good one, Danny. Boeing's second asset goes down in flames, even with soy betas like that guy being like, Nikki Haley doesn't support climate change, but I support Nikki Haley, not against Joe Biden, of course. This is like the fourth person that we've had in just a random interview that's like, I'm voting for Nikki Haley, and then I'm going to vote for Joe Biden in the general.
Right. And here's the other thing. Those things don't happen organically. Like, there must be some coordination happening internally at the Haley campaign with the local Democrat parties to get these people out of their homes, to switch votes or switch their registration and vote in a Republican primary, because they're obviously not your typical Republican voter. And so I'm really curious to see what that coordination is, because there needs to be some kind of link between the Haley campaign and the local Democrat parties, because there's no other way that these people will just randomly come out and vote for Haley.
Hey, Alex, you don't live too far from New Hampshire. Was this result ever in doubt for you?
Yeah, so I'm actually like less than an hour from New Hampshire. It's always been sort of a weird state, just because of the low populations. So that means it's all dependent on turnout, and turnout could very well flip the result. But when I do go up there for Trump rallies and stuff, there are, and as we've seen, there are massive arenas, the SNHU arena, and many others that he can fill. So the enthusiasm for Trump, and it's kind of like this in the conservative parts of Massachusetts as well.
Ride or die, boo, ride or die.
Conservatives here are very conservative. So that's kind of the same feel as in New Hampshire. So I do know that a lot of Republicans are hardcore Trump in New Hampshire. So I really didn't think that he would lose this state. But obviously he had to hedge against the whatever shenanigans Haley tried to pull with the Democrats. So, but it was never really in doubt for me. No, I saw the enthusiasm there, and I've been there so the first election in 2016, like I went to 4 or 5 rallies in New Hampshire. I saw like Rudy Giuliani.
Everybody.